have a phone now. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, Crank. It is a very absurd movie. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the year. So, let's get to stuff that does have to do with the year, I guess. Okay, to be honest, I don't really have a script for this one this time around. I got in a scuffle, I got a few scratches, and now I can barely write anything. And I honestly kinda hate it. So most of this is just going to be uncut, so there's going to be a lot of really awkward silences throughout, and but there will be occasional cuts. There are other aspects of the year I do really enjoy. After all, I am a music nut. I've been recently getting into anime, which surprisingly has a lot of really good stuff out there. And I've already talked about worst film of the year and best film of the year, so might as well go for the in-between. There's about 7 things I want to discuss. Brain's empty. They're mostly just things I'm just going to pick out of my head at once, so let's just begin before I forget about them. The best non-2022 movie I've seen this year is 2014's Nightcrawler, a movie about Jake Gyllenhaal blurring the lines between observer and participant to become the star of his very own murder story. This film is absolutely terrifying. Between the solemn cinematography and Gyllenhaal's terrifying performance as the Nightcrawler, Louis Bloom, as well as the murders that are attached to these stories, it's probably the most accurate depiction of a sociopath's search for fame. The one thing that held the movie back from being a masterpiece was the final shootout. It just felt a little unnecessary. Not to mention there was a death in that scene, which wasn't very well acted in my personal opinion. Everybody else did a very good job though, and it's definitely up there as my second favorite movie of all time. Only second. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is still at the top. Now this may come as a shock to some of you, but I haven't really seen that many terrible films in 2022. Sure, there were some that were just boring and convoluted, but none of them made me extremely angry or anything. Even my top 5 worst films have some merit to them. Except for Hellraiser Revelations for some reason. Oh my god, was this one bad! Terrible story, rushed productions, a beyond messy screenplay, forgettable and infuriating characters, and replacing Doug Bradley's Pinhead with some guy who played a doctor in one of the weaker episodes of Criminal Minds. It also doesn't really help that It also doesn't really help that the studio only made it to keep the rights to the series, so they just kinda shot it out. I also forgot to mention that the camera shots in this are pretty boring as well, which is a really bad sign if you're a Hellraiser movie, since even for the weaker installments or something as terrible as Deader, the cinematography's still pretty interesting. Even Judgment in the 2022 remake, which may I remind you came out after Revelations, had some pretty cool camera shots in there. So, Revelations doesn't really have an excuse. It also doesn't help that I was kind of getting bored of Hellraiser at this point, considering that I was binging the whole series in preparation for the 2022 remake, so I didn't really give it a fair shot, but that's life, man. The worst TV show of 2022 is not She-Hulk Attorney at Law. As beyond horrendous as that show got, I will admit that it does have a little bit of creative merit to it. I thought that John Waters' regeneration guy was pretty funny, and the even final episode wasn't really that bad. I just thought it was really weird more than anything. Not to mention that Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared did that first, so... And the third thing that I could give this show it wasn't nearly as terrible as Lord of the Rings of Power. They turned Galadriel into one of the most bland slates I've ever seen on TV. The story structure is beyond horrendous. The fight scenes make a college play look like 300. Amazon taking the wise words of Eggman too seriously.
When cheating fails, cheat harder.
And it's still kind of embarrassing that the so-called cavalry president, the most expensive TV show of all time, has the same amount of people as the army in the 80s BBC Narnia series. Which even that had more effort put into. And the show is so bad, it actually put an Amazon Prime analyst to sleep. I'm not even joking about that. Look it up. Let's just pray that season 2 doesn't happen so that Amazon Prime can finally learn a lesson on why you shouldn't mess with a fan base as big as Tolkien's. And no, I haven't watched Blood Origins yet, although I am predicting that it's way worse than Rings of Power, so fingers crossed. Season 6 of The Funny Lawyer Show. It is so good, I am not even going to spoil it here. You're going to have to watch the series for yourself. FF from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean Batch 2. That's it. Although I will say that Brittany Lauder did an amazing job of voicing this character in the parts English dub. She captured her quirky and clueless nature flawlessly. Might as well throw Batch Free in there as my favorite anime in 2022 as well. I haven't really seen Spy X Family yet, but I've heard good things about it, so again, fingers crossed. The only album from 2022 I actually listened to was Björk's latest album, Fossora. It's alright. Oh no. And with that, I think we should close the book. Oh wait, hang on, this isn't a book. Of 2022. Again, I would like to thank you all for your kind support, and I would have never done all of this without you. Seriously, it means a lot. Tomorrow I'm going to do nothing because I deserve a break. With that said, thank you for watching, and I will see you all soon. Seriously, Crank's an underrated movie. You should really see it.